So this is onexplayer's new gaming handheld. They have been making handhelds for a couple years now. Ever since this boom of handhelds, there's been so many different companies, so I get that it's hard to keep track of all these new x86 handhelds. But this one is pretty much my favorite so far. And in this video, I'm gonna go over my reasons why I love this handheld. There are a few things that obviously are annoying, but I think those are more the problems with physics and AMD and Windows rather than the actual onexfly. So I love handhelds. I remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before any of these Windows handhelds were even a thing, I was always like, dude, it would just be so great to have a handheld that I could, use whenever I'm traveling, or that doesn't just play Switch games. I have a Switch, the OLED one, and I like that system a lot, but you're kind of limited and the graphical fidelity kind of sucks. So I was so excited when the Steam Deck was released because I knew that would just make the market, go off. People would be making these handhelds all the time, and that's exactly what happened. So this is kind of the more matured state of where handhelds are. It's been about 2 years of this craze of handhelds, and in my opinion, I think this is the best one. So I've owned an Aya Neo, I've owned the Steam Deck, I've owned the Rogue Ally, and this is the onexfly. Finally, I think I hit the sweet spot. You care about portability, you care about performance, and you care about ergonomics. And I think those are the three things that this handheld exceeds in. So I'm not gonna go over like everything in terms of performance. I think you guys probably understand that the 7840U is a great graphics chip. I mean, it does require quite a bit of like cooling and of the sort, but it does get the job done. And I could play pretty much every game at least above 30 FPS. Forza Horizon 5 runs at about 90 FPS in medium settings, 1080p. Call of Duty runs about 90 to 100. It's pretty rare to get a game to run at 120 hertz, but actually Fortnite does run at 120 hertz at medium settings. So it's amazing. Honestly, having this and just playing those games is never gonna get old. Being able to play any game I want. And since it is Windows, it's really easy to just get an emulator on this and do whatever I wanna do. I can pretty much play whatever I want. But at the same time, it is annoying because Windows sucks for using a handheld. There are so many hurdles I had to get over just to make this thing exactly how I wanted it to be. It took about a week of troubleshooting and annoying Windows, downloads not working, and downloading all these different drivers and software, making sure my drivers were up to date. And it was just a very tiresome, annoying process. But once I got it all figured out and tuned in exactly how I want it, it's pretty much perfect. Games do launch now. I was having an issue where games weren't launching, and that's because I didn't have DirectX 12 downloaded on this handheld, so it made it difficult for me to actually use this handheld, and games were just not launching. But I downloaded the correct drivers, I downloaded DirectX 12, and everything has been running very smoothly. The only game that won't run on this CPU and GPU and the system here is the new Football Club 24, the new FIFA game. It just will not run on this for some reason. It won't get past the loading screen. But that's the only game I've encountered any issues with, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I can play my EA games and my Epic games and all of these games that even on a Steam Deck, there are a lot of things that you can't play because they're not Steam Deck compatible. It's through Linux, so it's a little more limited there. But you also get the ease of use of using something like a Steam Deck. So if you're pretty familiar with using Windows, I don't think that this is going to be the worst thing in the world in terms of configuring to your settings. You just have to be aware that it's an annoying process and you're going to get a little, headachy about it. And that is one of the downsides of owning an x86 handheld. I actually think I encountered more issues on my Aya Neo than I did this. The fans would get so hot on the Aya Neo that it would actually just shut down. And that was a big problem. The fans would just be going, and then eventually the system would just completely crash on me. And that happened all the time with my Aya Neo. It's a big reason I got rid of it. So in terms of cooling for this guy, I would say that it is a little bit worse than the ROG Ally, and definitely a lot better than the Aya Neo, and better than the Steam Deck. The fans do get pretty loud, but you can set your own configuration to actually have them stay quiet until it gets to whatever temperature you deem fit. I think around 75 Celsius is when I turn the fans almost all the way up, but it doesn't get to that type of temperature often. Even if I'm playing like a Modern Warfare 2, it really doesn't get to that temp very often. I think the fans are good. The cooling has been good. It's happened maybe 3 or 4 times where I was playing a game and the game crashed because of the heating issue, where the handheld was just getting too hot and the CPU and the GPU were just getting overloaded and the game crashed. So that does happen occasionally, and that's just physics, you know. I mean, having such a small device like this, pumping so much power and playing PC games, you know, the most graphically intense thing you can do on pretty much anything. So yeah, it gets pretty hot, especially in the screen area, like right here, where I think that's where the CPU is, or the GPU, and then the fan is here as well, as you can see. And yeah, I do really like a few things about this tablet, and the reason I got it, actually, the number one reason is the screen and ergonomics. I think the way this handheld looks is awesome. I think it looks so cool. It fits so nicely in my hand, you know, just using it. Like, I use the ROG Ally, too bulky. The Steam Deck, too bulky, too heavy. The Aya Neo, it was pretty ergonomic, but it was also really slippery for some reason. So it would like kind of fall out of my hands. It was hard to play like FPS games. But this is such a great handheld to use. I prefer using this, honestly, to my gaming PC half the time, because it's just so easy to get this, you know, out of the bag, turn it on, and just start playing. If you're not in the mood to have the most amazing graphical experience, like, you're gonna, you know, be completely fine using this. And I think the ergonomics and just like ease of use is such a light, thin, well, that's not thin, but pretty light. I think it's about 580 grams, which is lighter than the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and Aya Neo. So it makes it, you know, very easy to use and makes gaming such a like joyous thing. Like, if I'm in bed and I just want to relax, put on some YouTube on my TV, lay down, play some games, not an issue. And you know, on every other solution I've had with all these handhelds, it's been annoying to use it. Either the fans get too hot, the CPU gets too hot, it's too big and bulky, the battery's about to run out. You know, these are things that, you know, x86 handhelds have really kind of sucked at, you know, just ease of use. And this is something that I think this has almost got down perfectly. You know, the CPU, GPU doesn't get too, you know, overwhelmed when I'm just playing a normal game, which is not normal. You know, usually the CPU and the GPU just get overheated on those other handhelds and the games would just not run correctly. On this, it's only happened a few times, which is better than, you know, average. But once you get it all configured, the system just runs great and there's just no issues. So having something like this, having great graphics and just a really nice ease of use experience has been so great. I do not regret this purchase at all. I think this is the handheld I'm gonna keep. And I've had this one for a month and I still use it every day. And I think that's a testament to the great job that onexfly did. I've never owned any other handhelds in the past, but you know, I just saw the form factor and the performance that people were saying this had, and you know, going up to 30 watt TDP, and you could actually overclock that. So in conclusion, this handheld is sick. I really like this. It's a great looking, excellent performing, and pretty easy to get going with gaming on a Windows handheld. Like, it's not that hard to just, you know, it takes a few days of configuring stuff, but once you get it, it's so great. And I've just loved using this. I think it is a 9 or 10 out of 10 product. I think if you're looking for a handheld, this is the one to get. I've tried all of them, and I think this is my favorite by far. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And I was thinking about making a desk tour setup video pretty soon here. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments. And yeah, stay tuned. Peace.